I would say that weather wars, and this is quoting actually Senator Claiborne Pell himself, that they are the greatest weapon ever created in the world, and that's the senator's own statement. So yes, I do stand on that.
Thank you.
All right, guys, welcome in. And most people who don't know what's really going on in the world, they're all watching the political theatrics. But while that's going on, they're hiding what's really going on. Right now, we're looking at an area over here in the Middle East. I just wanted to show you this. Now, the other day we were talking about there's a couple of weather engineering programs over here in the United Arab Emirates. You've got the weather generator project that's been going on since 1995, where they actually talk about enhancing the rain, cleaning the air pollution, destroying sandstorms and fog. Well, they had come out with an article back in November, or actually, it was November, where they were wanting to get a new weather generator put over into this area, Jeddah. Well, I just had to be looking over here, and here's Jeddah, and they're doing a rain enhancement right now. They're pulling this moisture all the way across Saudi Arabia, over the United Arab Emirates, and then up into Iran. But apparently they must have the weather generator here, and it's causing a dust vortex. So whatever energy they're using, I think they use the cloud ionization technique, but they're pulling this dust storm that should be shooting straight across the Red Sea, and it's starting to wrap up into a dust vortex. So the technology that they're using is pretty strong, and we can see it right here. And then it's pulling the moisture. They sprayed aerosols all throughout this area for the last week or so. In fact, you can still see some of the aerosols still being deployed out ahead of this. But we're going to get into more of the weather stuff here in a little bit. I need to get some of these articles out of the way. I got tons of them here. This article come out inside Santa Rosa's mile-long tent city amid plans to shelter its residents in fairgrounds. California struggles under the weight of 130,000 people living on the streets. So while they're, performing this theatrical politics, soap opera on the TV, bogging up for what's really going on. We have, 130,000 Americans living in the streets just in one state. You have a homeless camps all along this trail. Why they're, just doing stupid stuff, man. How about help these people out? How about do your job and take care of the American people? But yet they want to bring more people in to add to this issue that's going on right now. It's amazing that these people stay in power out here on the West Coast. How do you live around that and not do nothing about it? Americans are lazy. There's a reason why they're lazy. Well, partially it's not their fault, which we'll get into that as soon as I get to them articles. Yeah, it could be more like 300,000. Well, we know that Lyme disease was a man-made bioweapon that was released on the American people. And now they're coming out with $100 million bill to fight Lyme disease, and it's been included in the budget. This was a bioweapon. You can go back and look at all the research where they let this stuff loose, and now we have a Lyme disease problem. So I'm going to put all these links so that you can read through them all. Also, last night we talked about how Chicago's putting a 20% tax increase on their food and drinks if you go to a restaurant to pay for the government's $830 million deficit. If we don't pay our taxes, our house taxes, in 2 years, if you get 2 years behind, they sell your property off. They auction it off, and then you have to pay a bunch more money to get it back. And it's just ridiculous. But if a government gets behind, then they just tax the people, and it's all good. You pay the price. You're paying for the weather engineering. You're paying for all these corrupt politicians to keep doing what they're doing, and you just leave them in office. Nobody's forcing to put normal people into office, and not none of these Illuminati, Satan worshipers, psychopaths, elites, whatever you want to call them. You got strange things are happening in the waters along the West Coast. We've been talking about all the fish are disappearing. They're trying to blame it on this blob, which we know this blob is created by all the bunker fuel that's being deployed out here, creating a blanket that is trapping the heat in. You also have Congress gives $25 million to the CDC to produce gun control research studies. Why does the CDC need to figure out a way to produce gun control research? It don't even make sense. So, this is all the New World Order plan. I mean, we're seeing it before our eyes. People need to wake up soon. Microplastics in the snow. It's just come out on the 13th. They're finding these microplastics in the ice core samples, in the Arctic, in the Alps, everywhere. And then every once in a while, you'll get a mainstream meteorologist talking about the chaff in the sky. He'll tell you, yeah, that's not rain, that's chaff, that's, heavy metal particulates and microplastics. Same thing. It's all being deployed from the drones and the planes and the ships. People think population isn't on the agenda. How about back on September 5th? Sanders says population control would be part of his climate agenda. Everything's a eugenics program to depopulate. So Sanders, wants to depopulate. He talks about it. He's all with it. It'll be part of his plan. It's part of all their plans. Now I was looking, some people sent me some research here. Exposure to electromagnetic fields and suicide among electric utility workers. So this is a case study that I'm going to put in the links where you can read how they've been testing this for years. And what they found out is the electricians that are working around these high power lines, working around these cell phone towers, it's making them go into huge amounts of depression and suicide. So what do you think is going to happen when all the 5G is online? It's going to make people depressed. It's going to put thoughts in your head, and it's all part of the agenda. I mean, here it is, more research. You have to go back to the older research to find the truth. Like I said, all these links are going to be in if you want to read through all this research. Here's electrical detection of magnetic scarmions. I can't remember how to pronounce that. Scarmions or something like that. This is actually new research for 2019, March 10th. And what this is talking about, the magnetic scarmions are vortex-like spin textures that possess a small size, high mobility to make the great promise of data carriers for high density, high velocity, low energy consumption memory devices. They transfer the magnetic signal of a single sky scarmions, I'll get this word right in a minute, into an electrical signal. Now, to me, these are all part of the nanobots and the things that they're letting loose in the sky. And I got just so much research on this. I'm not even going to try to get into it because I haven't even got to read it all, but I did read quite a bit of this today. And has to do with the magnetics and stuff like that that we'll be trying to get into. I'm like really unorganized tonight. Here's another document that we're going to put. Publications on biological effects of the electromagnetic radiation. This is from 0 to 100 gigahertz. And this is going to tell you all you need to know. See, there's the information is out there on the 5G, on the cell phones, on the cell phone towers, on the Bluetooth, on the Wi-Fi. It's all here. Microwave publications. I mean, this thing is just a huge PDF on what this stuff is doing. Like, I mean, this thing is just like the effects of the radiation. What it's doing is, you know, this is population control right here. That link will also be in there if anybody wants to research into it further. Like, I got so many of these research things, I'm not even going to go through all these. There's just too many. Superconductivity of organic charge transfer salts. Really what this is all about is the quantum computing. They're trying to make everything so small to get this quantum computer going and stuff like that. I mean, we're being inundated with microwave radiation. All right, so the ISS sees thunderstorm beaming electromagnetic pulse into space, producing gamma rays and ELF waves. Now, ELF waves, that's extremely low frequency, are called alpha waves. But, you know, the way they make this look like the thunderstorm is causing the pulsing into space when it's actually the other way around. This is how they try to kind of give you a truth, but they give it to you backwards. This is the same thing that the ionospheric heaters can do. You know, you got these extra low frequencies, the super low frequencies, extremely low frequencies, and they're not being produced from the storm like they are trying to get you to believe right there. It's going from the other way around. It's man-induced. Now, out in, I can't remember if this is Iceland or Ireland. Stay indoors. Warning issued for Galloway as Storm Elsa brings flooding. You know, this is the same play. I mean, look at the flooding that's going on here. And I'll see if it may not play. I don't know. I got so many tabs up. It's hard to know if this is even going to work. So major flooding. Which, look at the winds, man. So basically the whole town turned into the ocean instantly. This is not, you know, they're going to keep pushing off all these freaky storms that we know that they have been manipulating and call it climate change. You know, they'll never tell you that climate change is climate control. They never tell you, they never talk about the grand solar minimum. They're using that. They're using the weather control to push this agenda. We've seen how the articles come out, like how much will you pay to fix the climate? And that's what that boils down to. More crazy news out of California. The world's oceans are acidifying, but it's happening twice as fast off of California. You know, this climate change agenda lie, it's not going to be, you know, where it's only happening in one area at a time. See, if it did, it would be covering the whole planet. But these are just little isolated incidences. And we know a lot of this is caused by the bunker fuel operations and the dumping of the stuff coming out of these cruise liner ships. So, you know, first thing they come across, they say it's climate change, but they don't give you an explanation of the climate change. This is all just propaganda, untrue. Like we already showed you the ingredients that are in the jet fuels that they burn. Yeah, I'm not going to get into all this other research I was looking into. A lot of this is all talking about the quantum zero point motion prevents helium from freezing. This is all so they can build the quantum computers. I was trying to dig real deep into this stuff. And let me get through all these. I'm just going to close them out. And we'll get out of that. All right, finally got out of that. Supporting structures of the wind turbines contribute to the wind farm blockage effect. So the offshore wind power generation has become an increasingly promising source of renewable energy. Much about the aerodynamic effects of larger wind farms, however, remains poorly understood. And this coming out of the Journal of the Renewable Sustainable Energy. You know, whenever it says that, it's the opposite. You know, what they don't talk about in this article is the infrasound that is affecting people. It's affecting the birds. Birds fly into the propellers and die. And like I said, you got the infrasound that's coming out here that affects a lot of people. A lot of people are really sensitive to this stuff. You can see the weather stations are right on top of it, so you know it's got the Wi-Fi on it, so it's putting out the electromagnetic pulses. Member of the United Nations wants a one world government by 2030. So we're almost only 10 years away. We're seeing Agenda 21 right now. We had an earthquake, a 2.1 off the northeast of Rochester up in New York. Sodas Point, New York. Kind of an odd place for a earthquake. I don't even know how I got that one in my feed. You got here's a move-in day for the homeless veterans at their little village of tiny homes. I think I remember seeing this on some news a long time ago, but they built these little tiny homes for some of the vets. What about all the other vets across the whole United States? But these are mini versions of the Stack and Pack that's coming to a city near you. It's just like a test. This article come back out. It come out in December 17th, 2015. I was going to go over this one yesterday. It's like a 2-year to the day. It's saying, don't freak out, but we might be geoengineering with contrails. They said they may have been geoengineering the planet for years without even realizing it, bringing that they could very anti-climatic into the otherwise epic should we or shouldn't we debate. It's like that time, I'm not going to read all that. But, yeah, it's basically talking about how they called it accidental geoengineering like they always do, just to make you feel like they didn't know about it. They know about it. They've known about it. They've been doing it since the 1800s, the late 1800s. So now we're starting to get down in some of the Australia news. Or actually, is this in Australia? Where was this? Like I said, I've read through so much stuff, man. I don't even know where I'm at right now. So here's dramatic footage as a huge blaze tears through a building in Manchester. Yeah, you know what? I can't remember why I wanted to get into that article. Oh, I know. Let me bring this guy in here. Who's this? Max Egan, is that his name? Anyway, he just put a video out called Australia Wake Up or Die. And he talks a lot about exactly what's going on. Like what's going on with the water wars, with their dams, and everything going on. It's a really good video. Make sure you check this video out. I just posted it into the chat out there. And give him a thumbs up here. And check out that video because he's telling you what is really going on in Australia. We have a Christmas state of emergency crisis is declared. 400,000 hectare megablades threatens to join a nearby bushfire to form a monster inferno around Sydney. I mean, it seems like they're trying to burn Sydney down. That's where they want to put that new mega city in. You know, I really don't even need to read what this is because it's all propaganda. It's all blamed on the climate change and not really what it's about the engineered droughts, the engineered burns. Just go back and listen to that guy's video. It'll tell you everything that's going on. So, heads up for the people down there. Pray for the people because they're getting really hit hard. So I can't remember what this one was. Australia's heat wave registers new hottest day on record. You know, they just broke the record from 120 years ago. Was it climate change 120 years ago? What'd they call it then? You know, so if it was hotter 120 years ago, how can you blame it on climate change now? Was it climate change then? Was it global warming? And what they said, Australia's not prepared to fight the bushfires of the future. That's because they're not allowing more volunteer firefighters to help. They're not having other countries come in here and help fight the blaze. They want it to burn. That's what they're doing. Yeah, if I missed anybody any night, I'm sorry if I missed you if you donate or something like that. I can't watch the chat and look at all this stuff. But it definitely appreciated. So, you know, they don't want the help because they need it to burn. Now we had this cucumber green virus detected in New Zealand. You know, we're seeing this with all kinds of plants where they're getting these weird diseases. You can thank Monsanto for that. Because they're trying to ruin the natural foods so that you have to grow the synthetic foods, the, you know, DNA changing food. So you got this exotic disease in the watermelons and they stopped the imports. Man, we're just seeing this in so many places worldwide. Well, that's going on China's Belt and the Road, the deal of the century. Western Australia doesn't want to, but may not be able to avoid it. We see how China and other countries are buying up all their water when they are in a drought. This is going to go along with the Inter-Bering Railroad that I talk about all the time. China is pitching its Belt and Road Initiative. This is the same thing. This is like the superhighway for the United States. They're going to link all these countries together with all these superhighways and high-speed rails to create the one world government. I mean, they got 10 years left to finish it up, and we're seeing it every single day. The belt refers to the road and rail aspects, while confusingly the road is a transport route between the ports. You know, we could just bring up the Inter-Bering maps again. Yeah, definitely. Australia should kick China out. I mean, here's what the full map's actually going to look like. This is the high-speed rail, and then you're going to have the super highways across all the way from Mexico up through the United States. It's all going to connect into this Inter-Bering Railway that goes underneath the Bering Strait out to Japan, China, all over Russia, all over everywhere. This is the plan. You know, when they call it a road and a rail, here it is. You got the road in the center. You got the, you know, inbound, outbound, then you got all kinds of other tunnels for the FEMA tunnels. And you can really get a scope of it by, if you go to all the maps, the map and railroad drawings. I may need to zoom in on this. You're going to see what they've had planned for a very long time. And you see the rights run out in 2019. That's now. So here you go, showing it all over Los Angeles, Mexico. See, it goes all the way from South America up to Mexico, then over across underneath the Bering Sea, all the way to Africa, Here's the map of Alaska. Here's where the fire zones. Look, there's Australia. Look where the fire zones are, and look where this rail's going in. Also in New Zealand. This is what's going on. That way, you know, when they got all them cities over in China that are deserted. They got hundreds, I think 12 massive cities with no people in them. Them are going to be like the FEMA places. So if you don't, you know, if they don't want to kill you that day, they're going to ship you over here to these deserted cities, and it's just going to be a big prison camp. You know, that's why they're building these deserted cities. So, yeah, man. That's the reason right there. You can say it's got to be for another reason. No, it's not. It's the New World Order, man. They're full high going on. Look, here's Russia Railways sign agreement with also port. This just come out today. So they're developing a multi-model transit container rail system between China and Europe via the ports, Kaliningrad and Norway. I just showed you all the maps. It's all in full process. We're seeing the information come out day by day. Every single day we're seeing it. Okay, this is I finally found some radar for the United Arab Emirates. This is where the weather generators are. I just wanted to bookmark that. We already went over the greening the desert from the weather generator, so we don't need that. Get out of that. All right, I think we can just start taking a look at the maps. All right, let me go back over here. Like yesterday, the maps wouldn't load. Look, today they're loaded a little better. Let me see if I can get the full map. Yeah, see, today we could get the full map, but yesterday we couldn't even get the United States. Let me add in the bunker fuel layer just so we can check. Strange how some days it's right on time and other days I think they're blocking it to hide some of the information. I'm just taking a quick look here to see if I can spot the bunker fuel operations, if there's even any going. And it's like they just stopped. Let me go back to yesterday. And we'll verify this with the other maps. There was a few down here down south. I can see them. But one thing I do want to, let me get back up to today. Check out up here in Alaska. You know, they've been deploying weeks and weeks and weeks the bunker fuel out off in the Pacific coast. But look at Alaska. Look how it's all melted. You know, it's actually clear out here today. And you can see how it's melted. You got snow up in the higher elevations, but it's completely melted. It's all brown. Remember they had all the big fires over the summer? You know, there's no sunlight from here up. It's wintertime up there. They're in the dark. You know, where this black line is, that's where they're in the dark. And then you notice in the south, you can actually see, well, not a whole lot more, but you can see more. It's lit up all the way. This is where the railway's going in. Right across the Bering Strait. It's going to go underneath this island and then right on over into Russia. It's going to go 5 miles underground, then pop up. Same thing on this side. I see a bunker fuel ship pulling in towards a volcano. I think that's a bunker fuel ship. Let me look. I can't really tell. It sure looks like one. So they're actually not spraying up here for the first time, and I don't even know how long, weeks, maybe months. Oh, we have a freaky cloud that I'm going to show you. In fact, let's go look at it now. Over Minnesota and parts of South Dakota. What happened to this cloud? It's like it's been dropped. Like, this is one of the freakiest things I think I've ever seen. I've seen small clouds where they just drop off. This is like a, thousands of feet drop in the clouds. And then you can definitely see all the microwaves going all around it. But it's just like a whole portion of the sky has dropped. Let me click the layers. See, look at that. The whole sky, like they put a cookie cutter cutout on here and dropped the sky. I mean, it's just insane. I've never seen that. Here's like a little one. You see little ones once in a while, where you have the microwave clouds. It's eating up one side of the cloud. But I've never seen it on this kind of extreme. Look, it's even up here. Look at the microwaves on both sides, and the clouds just like cut off, like they put a cookie cutter up here and chopped sections out of it and dropped it down. Very strange, man. I mean, that's the biggest one I've ever seen like that, where it's covering almost the whole state. So look at that. It goes all the way. It starts really like right up here. It goes all the way around Minnesota and then over here into South Dakota and then down. And then it actually starts forming. I've seen that. I'm like, what is going on there? So it looks like they're still deploying aerosols off the upper coast of California. Washington's getting hammered. See, they're already drifting out. You got to really zoom in here and you can see the big fat liners. Disgusting skies. You can also see the frequencies. Here's another cloud drop. California is getting waxed. See if I can pull that out just a little better, try different layers. This will be the next system. It's going to be coming across, and they're starting, it looks like they're starting a new operation, like just now starting it over the Bajas. It doesn't look like a whole lot right now. I got to sneeze. Hang on. Ooh, I don't know if I got the mic muted in time, but had to sneeze. So yeah, they're working a brand new, pulling that moisture up from the tropics down here. Now we got that storm coming in Florida here in a few days. We're going to have to check it, see if it's changed any. Yeah, I didn't get this map loaded real good. Look, they're definitely spraying some particulates down here in the Caribbean Sea. Down over Panama. Look, the operations. I thought they stopped over the Bahamas, but there is a few aerosols being deployed. Nothing super big. And they're definitely spraying in the middle of Florida. Let's see if we can pull any more out. We got an X right there. Yeah, see, they're seeding it, but they got this thing pretty concentrated. Still pulling the moisture up into Rio de Janeiro, down over Argentina. You got the cloud seeding operations. Now, I think we have bunker fuel down here today. Yep, there he is. At least I can see one bunker fuel boat out here, ship releasing the toxic emission. See, you can see that billowing cloud. That's from a ship. You also have the chemtrails. You have a big, fat, thick liner right here. Big liner. And then you got this. You got microwave clouds. Look how they're crisscrossing in a grid pattern. We'll see if we can see how that formed. I gotta let this load better. One thing you notice is it's not really moving. It's being hit in place. That's why it's not moving, because that's several hours between these photos. Right where the aerosols were deployed. And once that clears up a little bit, you'll be able to see the aerosols much better. So definitely being hit with some ionospheric heating, causing the microwave clouds, the ripples in the different layers of the cloud deck. Yeah, these are pretty bad ones. We see these right where the ionospheric heater is over in Australia all the time. But, you know, when you got the bunker fuel there, you got the chemtrails, and now you got the microwave clouds. And the nearest ionospheric heater is right up here in Peru. So straight down from Peru is where an ionospheric heater is. It's not as powerful as Hart, but it's pretty much as big as Hart. Might even be bigger. I can't remember. Tons of cloud seeding going on in South America. And we can't see Iceland because it's dark up there. Pretty much the United States is really clear. We're only going to get probably a day of clear. The spraying operations will commence tomorrow. That's going to tell us a lot where the path of the storms are going to go. Ireland's getting blasted right now with storms. The UK, you're right in the path. France. Spraying operation over France again. They hardly ever get a break. Yeah, they got 70-foot waves. They did hit. Yeah, that we called for, 50, 60-foot waves. I wouldn't doubt a 70-foot wave hit. So we actually have a microwave cloud over the desert by itself in a circular formation. If that sticks out like a sore thumb. Aerosols being deployed over the desert. All over the Mediterranean Sea. Tyrrhenian Sea. More spraying over Barcelona. I think there's some kind of weather generator right here in Barcelona, because I've seen weather be fabricated right there all the time. And we see the heavy aerosols here. I'm going to try to get it pulled out a little better. So at one time today, the skies were really clear. And look, there's a couple aerosols being deployed. And then you had a few aerosols being deployed over here. And then within hours, boom, all these aerosols come through there and gridded the sky. And now you have a weather system being pulled in. So it's connecting with all the other stuff. And like I said, we know over here in the United Arab Emirates, they have the weather generators are on. It's pulling so much power. It's creating a vortex with the dust out here in the Red Sea. There's more microwave clouds showing the manipulation. You know, so all the winds are blowing from east to west. And then all of a sudden it starts getting sucked right up, creating the dust vortex. And it's all being pulled right over to the weather generator over here in Dubai. Showed these earlier, some aerosols being deployed out here. Little short segmented sprays that are going to drift out into this white haze. What's going on over here? You know, and things you'll see over here is you'll see mass spraying operations over South Korea, over North Korea. I thought they couldn't fly over North Korea, man. Look, the aerosols are going right over it. There's no borders when it comes to the chemtrails. Look at this. Look at this chemtrail, man. What is that thing? It's like a worm spray. Up and down, up and down. See if we can get that to pull out better. I wish I'd clear up really good. So that's some weird aerosol tracks right there. Yeah, they were really strange. I'm trying to see if I can get a better layer on them here. Yeah, I don't think that is just strange, man. I don't know that I've seen them all squiggly like that. So that's a weird spraying operation. You know, it's coming out of China, going right across over North Korea. The sprayers are going right over North Korea. Sea of Japan looks pretty clear. Let's go down here and check the fire zones. Let me just kind of look all around out here. Let me just check for bunker fuel. Usually you see the bunker fuel and the fires ramp up. At least I'm not seeing no blatant ones right now. I'm sure there probably is some in here. Well, you definitely have aerosols. And over the whole country, it's not looking too bad. Now, there is an ionospheric heater over here. I think it's right on that little horn right there. And if you can go back days and you'll see all the microwave clouds out here. It happens, you know, at least once a month or more. Now we're looking at the fires burning around Sydney. We know some winds are changing directions a lot down here. There's going to be no natural parks left. Now I had a picture a while back that somebody sent me on the beach down here, and it showed like inches of ash on the beach, like a fallout zone. Let me add the fire layer to see how many fires are going off the thermal anomalies. I see aerosols going through the smoke. So you got one pretty skinny liner cutting right through the smoke. He turned it off, then he turned it back on. We got fires going on over here. What about that freaky fire that was going on over here that's been burning for weeks? You know, they got these fires that are headed for coal plants, power stations. I mean, it could really get really wicked out here very shortly. So hopefully, you know, they don't take a bunch of people's lives, and probably already know they're going to take the land. So it's pretty much burning all the way around Sydney. Tons of fires going on. So it's picked up a little bit from yesterday. New Zealand's been getting hit with volcanoes, earthquakes, and aerosols. Yeah, smart cities are for dumb people. You'll just be an electronic slave. That's what it's for. You'll be an electronic slave, and it's just like a prison city. So some kind of really nasty spraying job going on north of Australia, or Christchurch area. Trying to see if they're fabricating some storms over here. Samoa, Tonga. Tons of earthquakes been hitting. And look, even though, like yesterday, we couldn't get this footage, it's still got a bunch of blacked out spots. So this is actually yesterday's that we couldn't pick up. And here are the aerosols over San Diego yesterday. We can click the layers on this, see what we pick up. We didn't get to see this yesterday. So California got waxed yesterday. Trying to find so this would probably be, wow, look at that drifting chemtrails. So this is how the day started. You know, kind of clear here in San Diego, but then they really started laying the big liners, big fat liners all over Los Angeles. I mean, all over. This is all synthetic man-made clouds. So it looks like the whole state of California was getting waxed yesterday. And after they did these little sprays right here, check out what it turns into as I click the layers. So it all drifted. All these aircraft drifted out and created all these synthetic clouds. Probably respiratory issues going to be going on over here. So that's what we missed on the map yesterday. We seen the biggest spraying operation was over California. All right, so there's that. Let's go ahead and just check the satellites. I'm just going to check the watches warnings. We're going to kind of keep this broadcast semi-short tonight, man. I am beat down tonight. Well, we've almost went a whole hour anyway, so we're pretty much did a full show. Yeah, all the media, man, is ran by the same 6 corporations. Media is all propaganda. We got some pulsing action. So the radars are pretty quiet. Before I go, though, let's go check the models to see if that storm's still showing to come in on Florida here on the 21st going into the 22nd. Let's see if they've changed anything. I mean, we've seen the sprayers, but you would think they'd be ramping this up. So no, you know what? Yeah, it's still there on the 22nd. You also got a monster storm with a wind event coming in Oregon, Washington, Northern California. This is on December 21st. Same thing happened last year, different areas, but on the 21st, that's when they did the polar vortex split. So we're talking flooding rain, possible tornadoes, and now it's even showing parts of Alabama getting hit with this thing. I mean, we're up into the purples. Let's put this on the total amount of precipitation, see what kind of rainfall we're talking about. So really up in Washington and Florida is going to be getting hit. Look at that. They're showing most of the moisture going here. I need to put that on the 24-hour. Let's go total. Try the total 24-hour. And we'll get it up there. So here's the 21st. Oh, that's not going to tell me. So just by the color, whoops, I keep accidentally hitting that. So you're looking anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of rain or more in just like a 24-hour period. So that's going to be mega flooding really quick. We can take this up. These are just 24-hour amounts. If you put it on the total accumulation, and that's all the way up. So, you know, over the next 2 weeks, they're showing most of the moisture is going to be out here, but you're still going to get hammered pretty good. They're in Florida, parts of Georgia, parts of Alabama, and then up over here, Northern California, Washington, Oregon. We'll see what the snowfall amounts look like. So really, the main spots up over here. And let me check the, I want the upper northwest. That'll be too big a map. We won't be able to see the numbers. I guess let's just try that. So you're looking at another 83 inches of snow for British Columbia, 73 inches of snow for Washington. There's a little spot right there, 54 inches of snow. There aren't no small amounts at all. It's a lot of snow. Let's put this back on here. Let's just check the temperature maps. See if we got any brutal cold coming in. Man, I'd vote Ron Johnson, a stranger than fiction news, for the president. I'd vote him in. Man, I really don't even know how you can detox from the heavy metal particulate. I mean, there is ways, but the nanoparticles are embedded in you. I mean, you just got to try to eat organic. Some of the stuff I do, we go over that product on Tuesday nights. Doesn't hurt to use a little iodine. I mean, there's tons of ways to detox the best you can. The main thing is just try not to eat processed foods, fast foods. That stuff will kill you quicker than anything. So really, I'm not seeing any polar plunge. You know, maybe for Minnesota here on the 18th, that's today, so they got a little -1. But over the next week, nothing super major except for over there in Colorado. You got -10 up in the mountains, 22 in the lower. That's still not that bad. That's doable. Check the surf in Hawaii. All right, yeah, we can check that real quick. So let's just put this on the ocean. Take the winds off so we can see. I'll zoom in on Hawaii here in a minute. We can check the wave heights, but just let me double check, see if we got any kind of wave weapon. Wow. Look at we need to give a heads up to the Azores Islands. What kind of waves? 60-foot waves. Wow. So 58.3. So we need to send out a wave alert for the Azores Islands here in the next 24, 48 hours. And Portugal, parts of the UK, you're looking at 36, 35-foot waves slamming into the coast. But the Azores Islands, man, that's mega waves right there. They'll call that storm the beast from the east again. So that's some mega waves. So down here in Hawaii, if you're doing like, I don't know where they surf at, but we're looking at, 8-foot waves. Let's take it up a couple days, just see. You got some waves coming in from the north, 12-footers. So yeah, your waves are gonna start picking up. Yeah, here now you're starting to get some 20-foot waves here on the 21st. Big waves for the Aleutian Island chain. Yeah, you might want to if you got family out there in the Azores Islands, let them know that the sea is going to really be ramping up with some pretty big waves. Talking 30-footers for a couple days in a row. Wow, did it just change on us? Put that back on now. Oh no, there's the wave. Yeah, that's here's the Azores Islands right here. So right on that island, you're looking at 35, 36-foot waves. So it's really the super huge waves are gonna skirt, it looks like, a little bit to the north. But still, man, you're talking 35-foot waves. That's not little waves, that's big waves. Then if you're out there in a boat, you got 52-foot waves, 54-foot waves. I don't think you'd want to be in a boat with them kind of waves. So it looks like this volcano down here is putting off some, man, look at all the carbon monoxide that's kind of spewing out everywhere. It's really like a bubble down here. I'm just kind of blasting through this real quick. I think the solar wind speed's picked up. Yeah, look at the auroras. So we got some pretty big auroras going on, especially up in the north. Anyway, guys, I'm about to call this show, man. I'm completely wiped out. And anyway, hopefully I'll get to do a show tomorrow night. But I'm going to jump off here. We're going to play a song called Rise. People need to rise up all across the planet. Stop these tyrannical, crazy governments. Anyway, guys, much love. Stand up, man. Don't sit back. Don't shelter in place. And I got to see if I can hit the right scene. I may not hit the right scene here, because my broadcaster moved on me. It may mess up here. I don't know. I gotta try to fix it here. Uh-oh. It's probably gonna hit the wrong scene.